So I'm fairly close to finishing my first draft for my review of Divine Divinity. But in the meantime, I thought I'd share a few tips and tricks that hopefully you'll find helpful should you choose to play. This list is by no means exhaustive, just a few little recommendations that I found incredibly useful during my playthrough, some of which I wish I knew far earlier on. Spacebar and pause. The best advice I can give any new player is to get familiar with the spacebar. Really get to know it, because you need to pause. This isn't a menu pause. You're actually freezing the in-game engine, literally freezing the world around you. Pausing should be your best friend. It's pretty much necessary in the tutorial town. Use pause to precisely target enemies as they'll often stack up, and your mouse will 9 times out of 10 select the pixel next to the small gaggle of orcs. Use pause to chug a potion of strength or restoration, to maneuver your character around attacking enemies, or simply give yourself a moment or two to catch your breath. Despite taking some heavy inspiration from Diablo, Divine Divinity is by no means an ARPG, and treating it like such will result in a world of hurt. You need to play methodically, and pausing goes a long way in helping you achieve that. I cannot understate how useful pausing is. Shortcut keys. The next big little tip are shortcut keys. This is something I wish I knew very early on, but alas, I didn't discover this ability to hotkey spells, items, or potions until I was around about 10 hours in. You can assign any skill, spell, potion, or trap to keys F1 to F9. Just don't use F10 to F12, as Divine Divinity is not a completely bug-free experience, and the F10s have a notorious habit of soft-locking games requiring a full restart or fresh install. I'm just going to jump in real quick. I began editing this video and realized I never actually told you how to go about setting up the shortcut keys. All you have to do is hover over the item, potion, spell, or sword, weapon, shield, whatever you want to do, and just press the key you want to assign it to. Really straightforward, very simple, and it's easily adaptable to what you need to do and where you need to be in that point in the game. I'm going to stop rambling now, and we're going to jump straight back in. In the early game, I highly recommend assigning F1 to health potions and F2 to mana potions, and using F3 to F9 for skills, which we'll go over a little bit in the next segment. Of course, tailor it to your needs, and if you've got particularly fast fingers, you could potentially negate even the hardest hitting of bosses. Potions are not unlimited though, and unless you decide to do things that are a little bit dodgy, a tip we'll go over towards the end of the video, mana management is still something you need to keep in mind. Not all skills are equal. Naturally, you'll have your own playstyle entirely unique from mine. I chose to craft a spell sword, primarily utilizing spells while falling back on my sword and shield for close quarters combat. The best early spells I recommend are Meteor Strike, which gives you a great range damage dealing ability that also adds a little bit of stun damage. Hell Spikes are great for crowd control, particularly early on, and the 2 shield spells are a must-have. For the first half of the game, you can rely solely on the physical shield spell. It protects against physical damage, but not magic. Once you escape a certain dungeon around about the midpoint of the game, I would start investing in the magic shield spell. Not a great deal of points, but maybe 2 or 3, as I found my magic shield would drain really quickly, far quicker than my physical shield would, but it was still useful in giving me a fighting chance in the often chaotic combat encounters. Lockpick is incredibly handy, particularly if you want to join the Thieves Guild. Just don't go above 3, because if you do join the guild, one NPC will give you 2 bonus skill points in lockpicking for just attempting his quest. Laying traps is another great skill, with the steel scorpion traps acting as a huge lifesaver for me on many occasions. I also invested in a few passive skills such as increased stun damage, extra damage, and the curse spell. Don't put any points into identifying objects or repair. These skills are traps because any vendor can restore your item's durability to its maximum for a small fee, while the repair skill will just give you 1 or 2 points of durability back. Identify is exactly the same, as any vendor can identify any level of item, again for a little bit of gold. And with the amount of loot you get, gold shouldn't be a huge issue, leaving you room to invest in more passive skills. Just one very important thing to note. Unlike preceding Larian Studio titles, there is no respec option, so quick save before leveling up just so you can try the skill or spell out before committing. Map markers. Placing custom map markers isn't really a tip, it's a gameplay necessity. The moment you get a new quest, place a marker down on your map where you received it, because trust me, your quest log will fill up so fast and it's tricky to figure out where those NPCs are, since the game simply won't tell you outside of some critical path missions. Combined with the quest log giving a far more nuanced overview of the quest rather than a set of guiding instructions. The map marker has a pretty generous text field too, which you could use to enter the NPC's name and a little info about the quest. Use a guide. One of two potentially controversial tips I offer, but due to the free-flowing nature of Divine Divinity, the quest objectives can be very vague, so I thoroughly recommend referencing a guide to assist you in figuring out where and when to go. I freely admit to using a guide on at least a dozen occasions across my 40-hour playthrough. Since many players like to roleplay their character in a particular alignment, and with many quests resulting in a fail state for often minute reasons, having a guide handy to point you in the right direction is a massive boon. As I've just stated in the above tip, quest summaries are convoluted by design, and the answer to solving them will remind any gamer of the old point-and-click puzzle games from the 90s. On top of that, many quests reward you with infinitely more XP for killing an enemy over just talking to them. Divine Divinity's balancing can often feel unfair, with random difficulty spikes, so every bit of XP counts, and every little bit of information can help you out in more ways than one. On top of using a guide for pointing you in the right direction for quests, use it to craft your build. Plan it out, because trust me, if you just go in blind, you are setting yourself up for failure. Teleporter stones. This tip definitely saved my ass on more than one occasion. Although getting the teleporter stones can be a little bit tricky, they're pretty much available right out of the gate. However, I do thoroughly recommend waiting until you're at least level 5 or 6, because the moment you touch the stone you're given, you'll be teleported to its sister in an area full of skeletons who will instantly mob you. If you're quick, you can drop your teleporter stone on the ground, activate it, then pause, drag the second into your inventory, and click it to instantly teleport away. Either way, once you've reunited both, make sure you always leave one next to a bed. By leaving one stone next to your bed, you can teleport back to it at any point to heal up, even in the middle of a dungeon. Just make sure you select drop and use and not just click on the stone. If you happen to just click on the stone in your inventory, you'll need to walk all the way back to where you left off. This is incredibly useful, you have to trust me. You'll save a whole bunch of potions which are fairly scarce early on, but also for buying and selling equipment. Being over encumbered doesn't stop you from using the stones either, so leaving one near a blacksmith is also a good option. The best part is, this has no effect on the world around you. Enemies don't respawn and quests don't break. So if you're in the middle of a dungeon like I've been many times, I can just teleport back to my bed, refill my mana and health, and get back to it. Another small little buy tip is that if you sleep after leveling up, vendors will have new gear appropriate to your level, which will make things so much easier while you get through some of Divine Divinity's more complicated systems. Traps. Regardless of what your build is, use traps. Use them as freely as you can afford. I highly recommend the scorpion traps by placing some of these down before you trigger a combat encounter. 1 or 2 is enough, with 3 or 4 being a little bit of overkill. The moment you enter battle, the scorpion traps will target any hostile around you, and in one-on-one boss fights, quite often the boss will target them and not you, allowing you to assist them in chipping away at the boss's health. Scorpion traps have a massive health pool and hit hard. Honestly, this really should be an exploit, but you're just using the game's systems to your advantage. Quick save. Do it often. I highly recommend quick saving after every battle or entering a new town/area. In classic Larian style, I highly recommend save scumming as well. You're not breaking the game, you need to have fun, and quite often the mechanics of Divine Divinity almost feel like they're purposely designed to stop you from having fun. So, quick save and save scum. Exploit if needed. So this is by far the most controversial trick I'm going to talk about, as it's not a system baked into the game that can be exploited, but just 2 straight up exploits. It's a single player game after all, it's your game. If you need a little help, then why not use every tool at your disposal? You'll certainly not be able to cheese the game with either of these two exploits, but it will give you a little bit of an edge. The two exploits I'm going to talk about are an infinite gold glitch and the item dupe. Duplicating gold is pretty easy. It's your classic case of how a game measures negative integers. So by holding down Control while you move your gold stack out of your inventory, just to the ground is fine, and then inputting a negative number, you'll be given multiple 5-figure stacks back of gold. The item dupe is slightly more involved. By that I mean you just need a barrel or a chest. Find one out in the open world, click and drag the item you want to dupe into the container window, but don't release the mouse button. While still holding down the mouse button, hit pause and release the mouse button. You should hear a little sound effect of you dropping the item. Tap escape to bring up the main menu and click resume. You now have one item in your inventory and the other in the container. This can be used for scorpion traps or selling very valuable armor. Again, this is a single player game. It's not a multiplayer game. It's your experience. If you paid the money for it, you should be able to enjoy it in any way you want. So if you need a little bit of help, there's no judgment from me. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate every single minute, every second you spend on these videos. Until next time, take care of yourself. I'll see you later. Bye.